Don't you love it when things are both easier and more affordable? Like when the rain washes your car for you. Or like when you save up to 10% by bundling your renters and auto insurance with USAA. Bundle with USAA and start saving. Get a quote today.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Making my way downtown, walking fast, faces pass, and I'm homebound. Staring blankly ahead, something through the band.
You know what? While we're here,
and I need you.
Wasn't it just so much more fun when Video Hits was on an analog TV?
Mate, rage. Rage.
There was rage. There was no Netflix and all that sort of stuff. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 was the rage. Baggy pants were like cool for the first time. MSN came a bit later for me. But Avril Lavigne in her peak.
Oh, what was the really emotional song that Avril Lavigne did that's just an absolute banger?
Complicated?
No. She did like an emotional
one.
Oh,
yeah. I'm with you. Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yes. Bit of a banger.
I'm in map ahead.
I can't get
It's really a shame for copyright reasons we can't play that, because that would be awesome right now.
I mean, we can do a cover of it.
All right, well, let's plan ahead for next time. What are we doing?
Mate, we're back with Coffee Break, but we were just chatting before we got on. We were just complimenting each other, and I was saying you're a handsome gentleman. And I said, you kind of got that MMA physique. You got a good bulk to you, but while still being slender. And I was kind of saying, and I didn't want to be an insult, but a bit of that modern day Zuckerberg coming up.
Well, I'll take that because MMA physique. I'm 5'10", and I'm probably wider than I am tall. Which is not really a compliment to myself.
No, but it's broad shoulders. It's not wide in the body. It's like broad shoulders.
I need to start working out. I come from a family of athletic freaks, and I just don't do much.
Yeah. What's the relationship with your brother? Can we put up a picture right here of your jacked brother?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can edit that in. He's doing his thing.
Pop. He's a big boy.
He's a big lad.
Yeah.
Eats his protein, all that sort of stuff. But Mark Zuckerberg, he's had a glow up. He's got these beautiful curly locks now.
Yeah.
And he's been hanging out with MMA fighters. Second richest man in the world now. So, on you, Zuck.
Well, there is a saying, you're never poor. Sorry, screwed it up already. You're never ugly, you're just poor.
But I feel like he didn't even need plastic surgery or anything like that. He just worked out, got a bit of sun, grew his hair out, and voila.
Yeah, but you wonder, there's now fashion people behind the scenes doing stuff. There's hairstylists. He's got a glow now. He's gone from standing on a surfboard with white zinc all over his face like a mummy to now this glowing MMA fighter rocking his Ray-Ban augmented reality glasses or whatever they are.
And he walked out with Alexander Volkanovski for his fight with Ilya Topuria, which unfortunately he lost, but
huge.
We'll get there. But we are doing the Coffee Break post Artisti Coffee Roasters episode, and we're probably doing it about a month or two. How long ago was that?
It must have been a month or so ago. We're really pulling it from the back of the brain for this one.
So anyway, we'll touch on some of that. We're making a bit more of an effort to sort of have the podcast recorded a bit closer to the release date so that we can talk about things that are a bit more relevant time-wise, I guess.
Yeah, not us chatting about mice when it happened 3 months ago.
Exactly.
Or whatever it is.
So we're making an effort for you, the listener, the watcher. But the Artisti Coffee Roasters podcast was excellent.
Oh, mate, it was great.
And I really enjoyed meeting those guys. For one, you can always kind of tell how a person is. They've got a team behind their they're all kind of operate the same way. They're very quick, very dynamic. They kind of keep us on our toes. Like, hey, when we're releasing this, we'll have this ready for the episode. Pre-interview meeting all went well. A lot of I think they had a planned media blitz for when they came to Melbourne because they were just doing everything.
Yeah, they were everywhere. It felt like a real kind of PR, like a movie star coming for a movie and just doing every interview under the sun. They were just jumping from spot to spot. But I was just like blown away with like, they came in like guns blazing, like all three of them, cameras out, recording every second.
Yeah.
Like it felt like a real kind of surreal moment. What is it, like Truman Show style? Like there's just cameras everywhere.
And it's not a small feat for a coffee roastery to make the wave that they have coming from Coffs Harbour.
Yeah.
And fun fact that we learned, I don't know if they said it on the podcast or not, but Coffs Harbour produces more than half of Australia's blueberries.
Oh.
That's a dinner table fact for you, Aussie listeners at home, perhaps abroad. You know, you might be playing trivia and you want to stump someone on a really hard question with a little known fact. What city in Australia grows the most blueberries? Well, in fact, that's Coffs Harbour with more than half.
Coffs Harbour. Yes, very interesting. Well, I mean, great for blueberries because, little known fact, blueberries, coffee, amazing combo. You can do like a little blueberry syrup. You could do like a fermented blueberry syrup. Iced coffee, unbelievable.
And
I don't really know like filter coffee has like the flavor profile of blueberries, but are you saying like actually add them in?
Yeah. You can do like a blueberry syrup or you could like muddle them with some sugar in the bottom of a cup. I've seen like fermented blueberry syrups and stuff.
Yum.
It's real good.
you know, my business partner's been talking to me about putting orange juice and espresso on the menu together.
Oh, yeah.
Liam's sort of, raising his hands in joy there. Has anyone tried that? It's horrible.
Oh, it's tremendous. It's not, sorry, I won't say it's tremendous. I think it is great. And I just don't like when people are like, oh God, that's horrible. I'm like, do you just not like orange juice? Because when you get the ratios right of orange juice to coffee, it just tastes like a slightly chocolatey orange juice.
I think I have to preface it like, don't have it hot, have it cold.
Yeah.
Have like
in ice, like an ice latte
exactly.
style.
Yeah. Like ice long black with some, go half and half. Some beautiful orange juice. It works.
With a lot of these kind of things where people are doing it, sometimes I think it's so much just comes down to the ratios. Like when I've seen people try that, like some people are using like 50 mil of orange juice, some are using 200. I think like anything with like cooking and drink creation and all that stuff, it's just about the ratios and working it out. Obviously, there are just flavors that don't go together, but I think that those flavors can pair.
And also temperatures. The Artisti boys were talking about it on the pod, how they actually, the strong black, right? And they serve at most of their cafes, long blacks at around 70, 75 degrees. So on the cooler side, so that they're just smashable. But it's like you were talking on the pod how you're using the Apex slabs.
Yeah.
But also hot take on, not throwing them under the bus super quick. But they were like, we've been doing the strong black for years, mate. I'm like, oh, so you're using the minerals? They're like, no. I'm like, well, that's one of the main factors of what a strong black is,
they are forward-thinking guys, and I always admire that.
Thoughtful.
Anyone that tries to be really good at what it is they're doing, especially if it's niche, and take that to the next level, I kind of really appreciate that.
Of course. And that's such an easy, repeatable thing that they're doing in the way they serve the long black. All they're doing is taking extra half hour out of their day to stop, analyze something that they probably serve a lot of and be like, how can this be better? We're going to pull the water from over here so it's at X temperature and that's going to make a better tasting drink for people.
I made one for my dad last week and my dad's very blunt. He goes, not hot enough.
A classic long black drinker.
Speaking of which, there's a bit of a scandal that I need to address here. So we had the sticky date scandal during that, but this is a different one.
This is Kirk's late night snack adventures.
Well,
Sticky Gate was last time.
Sticky Gate.
And look, fair. That was a true scandal. That was a true scandal. But there's another one that's even greater, and we need to address it right here in the coffee break.
Yep.
So we had a clip go semi-viral recently of one Rohan Kirk pretty much desecrating Italian coffee, the birthplace of espresso.
Boy.
Okay, so and where am I going with this? So it started off to kind of give you guys a chronology of what's going on here. Rohan, and aided and abetted by your business partner Sonam Sherpa as well, also just took a battering ram cannon to ravioli as a dish, another Italian classic. You said Xiao Long Bao was better.
Yeah.
Look, that's a personal preference for a lot of people, but there's a theme developing here. You guys wait. And then your hot take in this latest episode was an attack on the mocha pot, another Italian staple. You know, a lot of Italians love that. A lot of Italians enjoy it here. A lot of Australians enjoy it. But I've been doing some digging. I mentioned my dad earlier. I was speaking to my dad, and we were talking about his recent trip to Rome. And he says, "Yeah, it was really good to touch roots." Like, touch roots, you say? What do you mean there, Dad?
Wait, where is this going?
Well, turns out my dad's maternal great grandparents were Italian. Which makes my great-great-grandparents Italian, which makes me 6.25% Italian.
Oh, get out of here.
As calculated on the ethnicity calculator, I am 6.25% Italian, which means your attacks on Italian culture an attack on me, and the word I was supposed to say, vaffanculo.
Mate, you were as Italian as Mario. Like, let's
He's
be
Italian.
clear. No, he's made in Japan, man. That is the biggest level of appropriation that's ever been seen in the gaming community.
6.25% Italian. I'll claim it. I'm
So
Italian.
what? But you don't stand up. You don't like Italian coffee. What are you saying now that you love a dark roast Robusta? You want to?
Hey, look, I'll take a dark roast Robusta over a poorly made, light roast espresso.
Yeah.
But what if they're both poorly made?
Well, I think I think the dark roast is better. It's more palatable because then you like a poorly made specialty espresso. Like it's kind of hard to get right.
If you get it a slightly it wrong either side, trash. And that's part of not plugging here, but that's part of our signature blend for the home machines. It's designed and roasted at a level like if you pull your shot in 22 seconds, it's still going to taste pretty good. If it takes 35, still going to taste pretty good. If you take like a light roast specialty and you're even like a couple seconds off or the yields off or whatever.
The window has to be correct.
Yeah, you're way out. It can be so sour, can be
And so
horrible.
your variance with an Italian espresso is actually consistently better. And so where I'm going with this is you're a terrible person for attacking me and my culture.
I'm going to say, mate, you own a cafe where your biggest selling points are like lychee cold brew and mango lassi lattes. If an Italian person came into your coffee shop, they would end it all right there.
Australian fusion. It's Australian fusion. So, I'm predominantly Australian, but come on, coffee is my roots.
Well, I mean, it did also, I feel like I've become this like poster boy for Italian hate. I'm just speaking a preference level of like things that we like here. And we also did the video, which I didn't think was that controversial in the end. All I said, we had a video that's now, 130, 150,000 views or something. Just stating that there's a reason Italian espresso is bad.
But it's not the views that really get me.
Comments.
It's the comments and the quality of the comments. I probably should have prepared some to read to you, but look, you can all go and look and listen for yourselves. It's not really an endorsement of Rohan.
Yeah, it's definitely not. There's a lot of hatred there, but I thought I went on to like quite, eloquently explain that there has to be a certain level because it's a right to have espresso and it's going to be €1 a pop for an espresso and everyone from any demographic can afford to buy it and that's why the choice is made to be there. I will say in Florence, they had many, like when I say many, there was probably like 8 to 10 like specialty places there where they clearly define it as specialty coffee that were more in the realm of what we're talking about. Was one of them from Melbourne? Sure. But it was in Italy and they do have the options there. But as a broader whole, it's just to be more of a democratic kind of situation.
Do you remember the Witch King of Agmar from Lord of the Rings?
No, I told you I hate Lord of the Rings. Why does Lord of the Rings come up every episode? Go on.
Maybe even the Dementors from Harry Potter.
The Dementors,
Remember the scream they make? Like the horrible scream they make?
Yeah.
That's kind of like what it sounds like when an Italian steams milk. You do it.
Now he's back to throw the bus.
Hang on. They do espresso really well.
Yeah.
It's the milk. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit tough. And, there's lots of non-clean jugs and that kind of thing from my, anecdotal evidence.
And I can say that as an Italian.
Yeah.
It's not our strength. We do pizza, pasta, and espresso really well. Crickets. Bueller.
So, the Artisti boys,
yes.
jumping back.
Oh, sorry, but we're talking about them. Yep.
I'll state it here now. Don't hate Italy. Love Italy. But, in a general stance, xiaolongbao is better. Or not xiaolongbao. I'm not going to stand it. I'm saying there's so many dumplings. There's a million different ways of having it. Shumai, hit me with that bad boy. Are you kidding me?
like a good chili peanut wonton.
Ooh,
oh, good Lord.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
We actually had some friends. I think on one of the shows I said I went to Sleepy's just down the road, and I was like, so good, great little spot there. It's like a little bar that does like some nice Asian food, lots of dumplings and that kind of stuff.
Steve Chen, the owner, former colleague of mine.
Yeah. Then he messaged me and he's like, had a couple people come in and said you recommend they come on the pod, so they popped in. He's like, thank you so much. So I guess I actually need to think about what I'm saying on this thing for advice. Went to Maker the other day, had a delicious geisha.
Which one?
It was Bolivian. It was I can't remember what it was.
La Lama? Las Alasitas?
I can't remember. This is my downfall with like coffee, where I'm not like, I just walked in and I said, what pour over should I get? And they were like, oh, blah, 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 the Bolivian whatever geisha is really good. And I was like, and I should take more notes. So I'm like, this is what I'm like having, but I just ordered it.
See, this is the thing. I can always remember these sorts of things. My memory is so useless for certain things and so great for others. Like I can remember, I used to play Pokemon and I played up until the 4th generation, 493 Pokemon, including gens 1, 2, 3, and 4. Ooh. And I could name them all.
I reckon I could do one. That's it.
Okay. Well, that we need to work on that. But,
yeah.
But yeah, like I seem to remember them all.
Yeah. Sorry, we keep on going off here. Back to the Artisti Boys. One of the things that stood out for me was where I got a bit of a stunned reaction was the rural versus the city coffee and the quality level of it. Now, what I can't remember because we're a month out, but I remember them saying like rural coffee is like, they threw out like a number like 70% better than any coffee we have in the city or something like that. Your thoughts, boys. I feel like I was the bad guy on the pod and everyone else kind of sat back and didn't say anything, but any thoughts?
Well, I didn't have a mic, so I couldn't jump in for that episode. But the boys were saying that, they have to fight for every cup. That was their main thing. It's like they can't afford to put out a bad coffee. So there's kind of that in between and like, yeah, that was kind of their argument. That
let's not get it twisted. I think that they, as a coffee company, would make better coffees than a lot of city coffee shops and that kind of thing. Yeah, totally. I'm just talking about the rural towns that I've gone to. My experience, anecdotally again, is that there might be like one or two young bucks coming through doing a cool coffee shop and it's like, oh, wow, they're, and a lot of the time they might be getting coffee from somewhere else, but oh, they've got some amazing coffees on or a great variety or some really interesting stuff. But in general, I haven't found this huge quality level they're talking of.
Well, this is the interesting thing about how country businesses in hospitality kind of work, because a lot of hospitality is the goods that you have access to. And so in a town like Ballarat, for example, so I grew up, spent a few years living there, and I go there from time to time now, and there's some coffee shops there that are so good, that outperform so many coffee shops in Melbourne. And it's because of things like the milk that they have access to. So like really high quality local milk that's like organic. And don't discount how important the milk is in your latte or something like that. It is huge. And so like there's there's a couple of shops like Cobb's Coffee in Ballarat and Johnny Alu, Fika Coffee Brewers. They brew excellent coffee and they use really good quality ingredients because that's what's local to them. And it might be the same for Artisti. Like some of them actually have a bit of an advantage because of the like high quality produce they have, which is, they're a farming town or close to a lot of farms. Yep. And they can just get these sorts of things. And then they have the staff retention where like in some cases it's not so great in a tourist town, but in a town like Ballarat, you've got people that will work for you for 3 or 4 years, maybe longer. So because they live in the town, they want to stay in the town and they're willing to stay working for you.
Yeah. In bigger places like Ballarat, I'd reduce my statement on it or like, maybe bigger places. But I think I'm thinking more like small towns that have like 2 or 3 coffee shops in the whole thing.
But that might not even count towards just Australia. Like imagine like a small town in the US or the UK, Sweden, for example, like just that some remote community within the whole country is like they have access to this product which they pair with their coffee that actually makes it excellent.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's true. I also think, if you're on the YouTubes, if you love searching around there, the Artisti Boys have a bunch of great videos on there, really good, high quality educational stuff. I don't know where they find the time to do all of it. Like, we're focusing majority on that of a bunch of people. They're doing an amazing effort with the amount of content they're pushing out.
They are. Hey, this is a good opportunity for me to plug. I've just started a new Instagram page, guys. and TikTok. I'm not on the TikTok much, but Kirk the barista.
Kirk the Italian. Search him up. Kirk the Italian.
Come throw some hate at me on Kirk the barista.
He's throwing a lot of Mamma Mia's out there.
Yeah. But seriously, I've been doing a few videos, having a bit of fun with it. So if you want to look into what my life's like when I'm working, making coffee, follow at Kirk the barista.
It's good vibey stuff. It's like, just that kind of morning vibes, very relaxing. You did one just about like dialing in and getting the cafe ready. It's also nice because it shows the quality level of your cafe, that it's like everything come in fresh, start it up, beans straight into the hopper, no sitting out overnight in a hopper and doing, getting old. So it's all those little details and seeing the machines. And, you might even pick up on a few little hidden gems in there, like his dose size.
Oh, there's a few Easter eggs indeed.
A few Easter eggs. Start to copy that formula.
But I'll do some informative stuff as well. So I'm thinking about doing a series on, for example, how to make better batch brew. And making like a 3-video series on how to do that. While we're on this topic, you've got a page now that's really successful and an YouTube channel as well. What's like one of your tips to growing it for anyone that wants to make content out there?
Yeah, I mean, I think the tip to growing it, there's an interesting thing because, not everything is going to work for everybody. So it's like stick to what you actually want to do and what you actually want to say. Don't try to be too much. But I think especially when you're looking at brands and more so brands and people, but it is all about adding value for the consumer. Whatever that might be. Value might be education. Value might be a laugh. Value might be connecting with something that's like, that is so me. Like that speaks to me and I want to share it to my friend. You're going to get your biggest growth is going to come from people sharing and saving your video. So they're the metrics that you need to look at. And that's what you need to think about when you make the video or the content. Is this something that someone would want to share to somebody? So for instance, we did a post that was like just talking about Sydney got ranked higher than Melbourne in a coffee in some, some article or something.
Written by some vengeful Italian.
Yeah, written by some vengeful Italian. So we just, you can just post about that and have a point of view. And then that's going to ignite people from Melbourne and Sydney to want to share it to their Sydney friends, share it to their Melbourne friend. You suck. So it's all about, or saving. People might save it because it's education, how to make better batch brew. You say in that video, it's like at the end, save this video and pull it up the next time you're making batch brew. Because when you can offer value to people, that is when you're going to really get fans that are going to come back and want more. And especially like that's where we find the majority of followers come from when we're doing it. So I think that's really helpful tips. And then you just got to practice. Like you don't just get on a bike as a kid and ride a bike. Like people think they're just going to post a video and it's going to go crazy. And that's why some people say you should be, posting 3 times a day or whatever. And I don't necessarily think you should be doing that. But posting and having a regular regimented schedule of like, let's say you were like, I'm going to do 4 to 5 videos a week or whatever. You're forced to do it and you're forced to learn. You'll learn so much more when you see a video go off and then question, why did that do well? What did people love about that? Oh, I had this great hook here, or I was offering this education. So much of like who we are now and what we're doing is just realizing what people want over years of making content.
There's so many little things you learn along the way as well. Like for me, I filmed my first 2 horizontally and it's like, hang on, you actually need to film vertical if you want to do content on Instagram and TikTok. And then also I've chosen the route of actually using a camera instead of my phone. And I want to learn a bit more. So I'm signed up for Adobe Premiere Plus. My editing has gotten from like the first video I did to now. It's like so quick. Yeah. Like you get so much quicker at it.
Yeah.
And more efficient.
Think about that in like a couple weeks, a couple months, like how that's going to grow. I mean, we've got an episode coming up in the full-length one that's going to be pretty great that you've done a lot of work into, talking about the effects of work from home on the coffee industry and just people. It's going to be a juicy one. Maybe there's a good episode following up somewhere else about like starting an online business or the social channel or doing that. Maybe there's someone else that we could look at. Maybe we get Kay Payne back on the app who's got an amazing TikTok following from a personal level. We could share tips on doing that. And it's also probably a good app with you starting off Kirk the barista.
Yeah.
We could maybe set some goals for you in that thing. We could set some KPIs. We want you to have this many views, this many followers, X amount of whatever. That could be like a good challenge for us.
Yeah,
to
well,
set up.
let's keep track of that because I think the one thing that's important about that is consistency as well. Like you sort of said, having a regimen. But we'll keep track on that and we'll chronicle that over the next year or so.
Good question. What are you at now? Just so we know for the people at home, how many followers on the old Insta?
I think it's on the Kirk the barista.
Yeah,
I started last week, so I'm at 150.
That's pretty good for just starting last week.
I'll take
Popping
that.
it out there. Let's see if we can get it up from the podcast here. Make sure to go and give Kirk the barista a follow,
please,
and comment on his posts, being like, "That's not how an Italian would do it." Let's start ripping into Kirk about his Italian heritage and how he's not doing it like an Italian.
From what I can see, that's only 6.25% correct.
My Italian friends, we need to rise up against this hate. Defend me.
Look, I reckon that's probably coming to an end of our coffee break. That was a good chat. There was a few other things I wanted to chat about, but maybe we can save it for our next coffee break.
Yeah. Well, make sure you tune into the next main episode too. This was going to be a juicy one, folks.
Yeah.
This is going to be a juicy one.
I've started watching Better Call Saul. I just wanted to have a little conversation with you about it.
Okay. All right. We might have a little bit of Better Call Saul related segments.
Yeah. You know that show that's so relevant that everyone's watching at the moment. Just keeping it relevant here for people. Coffee, y'all.